Thank you. So we've got one more session here, IRL, in real life at Marvel, before we break for lunch. It's a special session. I believe this is the only one on the streams as well. So for those that are still with us on the streams, very special session next. I've got the privilege of moderating this with what we're calling our homegrown talent. We've got artists and project founders, all Aussies. First to the stage, I'm going to ask Giant Swan, a virtual reality artist, to come up to the stage. Danielle Weber, an amazing artist, is actually behind the artwork of the PO-Up. So if you haven't got the PO-Up yet today, you need to get it. Welcome, Danielle. We have probably one of the most notable NFT figures, not only in the country, but globally, in DCL blogger, aka Maddie. So welcome, Maddie. And finally, we have Steve Morlando, who is the owner and founder of NFTeams and also an owner of a gold Bored Ape. So welcome, Steve. Okay, Maddie, let's start with you. I know Michael from the Metakey is sort of floating around here today as well. You've been on really the frontier of NFTs for a while, and I mean it might still only be a couple of years, but in terms of sort of crypto and NFT and how fast it moves, you are a true OG. Like, for the people in the room, maybe the 7 people in the room that don't know you, can you give maybe just a little 30-second sort of overview of how you found yourself here on the stage and some of the works that you're into?
Yeah, sure. First of all, happy to be here and see real people for a change. So, how you going? But yeah, I've been in the NFT or crypto space since 2017, 2018. And it's funny because I remember getting in then and Bitcoin was, I think, a few $1,000s. And I was like, oh, I'm so late. I wish I got in like 6-7 years ago, right? And it's just crazy at the pace of innovation and what actually comes out of this space. And you realize it's just an ongoing innovative journey for blockchain or Web3 or wherever we're heading. So I got in, I found a project called Decentraland, and somehow people were trading virtual land on the blockchain, which I thought was super, super interesting. It was nothing like I had done in that year of trading cryptocurrencies, and it sort of made more sense for me to go down that path. You know, I'm a gamer at heart. I watched Dragon Ball Z when I was growing up. I like virtual, visual things. So got really into Decentraland. 1 or 2 years, I started trading virtual land, started buying portfolios, treated that as a full-time job, quit my work and was just, full-time virtual land trader, and everyone thought I was going crazy in my real world. That was a lot of fun, but at the same time, the art industry was bubbling up and, moving forward. There was collectibles popping up, and we were all sort of doing our own little thing. And then 2020, everything sort of merged and clashed together, and everyone sort of realized what this metaverse was shaping up to be and how everything will be a part of it. And then obviously the user base 100x to 1000x, and now, yeah, I've been here for a while, trying to make sense of it just like everyone else, but have had the privilege to have started a bit earlier, and just happy to be here.
Thanks, Matty. Danielle, to you. For those that don't know Danielle, tremendous artist, has a huge following on Instagram in particular, and I knew that Danielle had done actually a piece of art for The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, but I found out about 15 minutes ago, not only The Rock, but Arnold Schwarzenegger as well. Danielle, you really are an artist to the stars, and now you're really starting to dip your toe into sort of the NFT space. Like, first of all, welcome, and maybe off the top, tell us a little bit about your works and how you're sort of transitioning and how you see Web3 playing out for you.
Thank you for the awesome intro, Greg. I really appreciate that and appreciate being here as well. As Maddie said, it's nice to see people in real life. Yeah, so I've been a full-time artist for over 10 years now, and of course have come across incredible opportunities as a traditional artist, and then sort of made the transition to Web 2, which has now become considerably hard to market. So when Web 3 came about, I thought, this is an incredible opportunity to actually start creating off my own back and creating another community and a more, I guess, inclusive community and a community that I want. So yeah, so it's been a crazy journey. I think I sort of dipped my toe into crypto in 2017, but didn't get into the NFT space until about a year ago. And I guess, yeah, have like everyone in this room, have been learning along the way. And I guess the biggest challenges has been I've learned to paint on canvas, and now I've had to learn to adopt with this digital world. And now I have managed to incorporate both digital and physical. So I've launched a few collections, and my main focus has been just bridging the gap between physical and digital art.
Amazing, thank you, and we'll loop back to you shortly. Giant Swan, talking about OGs, you are, by most standards, considered an OG in the space as well. Virtual reality artist. Tell everyone in the room, what does that actually mean? And congratulations for having the best outfit here today, clearly.
Thanks, guys. I thought I'd give you something to look at today. Yeah, a virtual reality artist, what does that mean? I put a headset on and I use movement to create 3D shapes in color. What that means is I'm creating organic 3D art in a way that 3D art really isn't traditionally made that way. It's led to a visual language that really stands out, and I found a home in the NFT space quite early in about 2019. I got started, and yeah, I've been a part of the culture for a long time now. It's been really fun.
Thank you. We're going to dig into a little bit of Giant Swan's work in a minute, but we'll just introduce our last guest, Steve Morlando. Launched a project, I should say, called NFTeams in, was it August? No. August? October? Sometime around late last year. Steve, tell us a little about NFTeams and sort of your journey as a early stage project founder so far.
Sure. So again, thanks for letting me be here. I've been stuck in an office for 8 months building, so getting out in public is always exciting. NFTeams I started building maybe 8 months ago, and I try everything I do. I try to build and learn and teach. So I started a YouTube channel showing everything I was doing along the way as well. And NFTeams is pretty much a sporting franchise. So we're trying to build and here are all the buzzwords, Web3 blockchain-based sporting league. And what it is, we dropped the 10,000 teams and they sold out in 24 hours. And now we're building jerseys, stadiums, players for all these teams as well. We've got a $2 million prize pool that we took from the community, and we're giving that back every month through tournaments. I was lucky enough to be in the space in 2012-13. I sat next to a guy who was mining Bitcoin and had the classic story of I threw my hard drive into the tip. So I've been in the space for a while, and I've been through all the ups and downs with Bitcoin and ETH. And yeah, I was pretty much over it until NFTs came along, and it just grabbed me. So since then, I've just been building out NFTeams, and I just see the future of where sports can go and the metaverse and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, amazing. We'll dig into the project a little bit. Matty, just over to you. With your Metakey project, we've heard a lot this morning about the collectability side of NFTs, a little bit on utility, but last year you launched the Metakey, which was a utility-packed project, essentially with a little bit of collectability, but more on the utility side. Sort of, being in crypto for a while, did you see that that's sort of the future where it will almost flip from being a use case of collectability to utility with a little bit of collectability? That's a lot of LYs at the end of my sentences.
Yeah, I'll just rewind it a bit. So for anyone that has not heard of the Metakey or wants to know what it does, it's basically an NFT that we issue in batches, and whoever owns a Metakey, our company, which has about 25 to 30 people now that run the Metakey, we go on to build utility for that Metakey in as many ways as we can find. So think about the games that will launch on Decentraland, or the games that will launch on the Sandbox, or a course database, or a virtual experience where there's an access hall which you can only enter if you have the Metakey. Basically, the Metakey will plug into, ideally, in 2 to 3 years, hundreds of different apps and give you some sort of functionality. And the fun thing about it is the scope of that is so large that we can sort of experiment with what that functionality looks like. Whether it's access, whether it's an airdrop, whether you go to a Shopify store and it gives you a 10% discount on some merchandise that you're buying, all enabled through blockchain and connected to an NFT, which is hopefully the Metakey. So the idea of it was, I did launch it last year, and the goal was to sort of utilize my network, which I had built quite well over the last 3 years. So, Whale Shark, Metacoven, all these people, we were all quite tight-knit, building our own, sort of experimenting at our own level, and we all were doing different things. The idea was to build something where I can plug into their success, and they can plug into what I'm doing and have some sort of collaborative value bridge that goes to their holders and my holders. or our holders of the Metakey. So even today, if you find Michael, which I don't know where he is, hopefully he can put his hand up, there he is. He's got a bunch of Metakey merchandise, which if you have a Metakey, you can go up to him and he'll scan using a app that we're using called Token Proof. He'll scan it on your phone, and if you have a Metakey, it'll verify that you have one, and he can give you a physical merchandise, a physical hat. And we're also doing a wearable counterpart, so you'll also get the digital hat, and a POAP, right? So we're just experimenting with what this looks like. So everyone that holds a Metakey, we did a collaboration with Australian Open, so Ridley, who was here before, Metakey owners got access to mint one of those NFTs. We also joined them in some virtual experiences and did like a wearable drop. We're working with some other brands that are launching and activating themselves in the metaverse as well. And so we're building them out and doing festivals and seeing, well, what value can we add to their holders and our holders. Anyway, the NFT is a fun space, and we're just trying to plug into everywhere and see where it fits. So it was very utility driven, but the culture of this space, you have to find art to work in this space. And that's why artists are so important, because they did build color and make the space so much more fun to be part of. I remember in Decentraland, some of the very early hackathons that they led, it wasn't very cool what came out of there, because there wasn't that many artists. And then the later hackathons that they did, and game jams, it just got really colorful, and the stuff that was coming out of there, you could really see the intersect of all the artists that came to this space. So yeah, that's what the Metakey is, and we're just going to keep building for years and see what happens. And wherever NFTs and their utility goes, the cool thing is we can just pack that into an already existing Metakey that you bought 2 years ago.
Love it. This next question's for both Danielle and Giant Swan as our two artists up on stage. How has it changed the relationship for both of you as artists in terms of what Web3 does for an artist and a collector and that relationship?
Yeah, I mean, the relationship between me and my collectors is both extremely personal and really intimate. I have a direct connection between people who are supporting me to create what I'm capable of, but also what I'm making right now. And that's just changed my trajectory completely. Over the last 2 years especially, man, you look at my art and you can see the potential in it, maybe. And now I feel like I get to reach that, and yeah, it's really fulfilling in that way.
And did I see, I can't remember, was it Pranksy or was it Jimmy.eth that is a recent collector of one of your pieces? I swear I saw something on Twitter.
Yeah.
We got a lot of DGens watching, maybe not so much in the room, but we got a lot of NFT nuts watching on the stream. So
big shout out to all the boys at Whale Shark and Jimmy and Pranksy. They're all just people as well, man. And when I created art, to connect with anybody, connected with those guys as well, and their support's given me a lot of opportunity as well. Yeah.
How about yourself, Danielle? How does it change the relationship with your collectors?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly put. It's a beautiful cycle that we're seeing in this space. We are closely connected to our supporters and fans, and that way we can give back, and we can. It's a cycle in a sense that we know what they want. We can create. They motivate us to keep creating and to create work that's true to ourselves and true to our craft. So, and it really is like, not that we couldn't give back to our communities when we were in traditional art and Web 2, but it has taken out those middlemen, it has taken out the galleries, and it's really motivated us to, I guess, think more widely about how we can give back to our supporters, and that then, I guess, links to utility and really just being at the forefront of your project as well. It pushes you to sort of stand up as an artist. We used to hide behind our work, and now we're like, hey, this is what we're creating, and we really want to thank you for supporting us from day one.
Absolutely, thank you. Steve, to you, with NFTeams, tell us why you started this project, but also can you give us your thoughts on the fact that we're sort of seeing in real time, you've got your ape up there, I've got my cool cat, and we're sort of seeing this emergence of these projects that are building IP from the ground up. Is that sort of your intention with NFTeams as well, and where did you sort of get the inspiration for that type of model?
Yeah, totally. So it was the Bored Apes that gave me that inspiration. And you see a gold ape there, and I've got full IP rights to that thanks to Yuga Labs. So I'm using my gold ape in NFTeams. So he'll become an umpire, and we've got some 3D designs of him and everything. I'm not sure if we have a video or anything, but there was going to be a video of him wearing all the jerseys that will go on the players, which every team gets. So IP rights are a big part of this space, and all NFT owners actually have full IP rights over their team, and the hope is that they build out their own brand with the team. So I believe that in 10 years, a sporting league online's a foregone conclusion, and then they're going to own one of these 10,000 teams that are playing 24/7 online all the time. So giving those IP rights is very important. There are a lot of issues that come with that, and there are a lot of legal things that I wish were a little easier in the Australian ecosystem. So one of the things is we give money back every month to team owners. We run a competition that's at the moment a tipping competition, but I'm limited to giving back $10,000 a month because of current laws. So yeah, at the moment it's really difficult to build without knowing what I can legally do, and some of the options, and we've seen it with Animoco brands, Immutable X is going offshore. So that is an option as well. But hopefully, and I've seen over the last few days that there is a lot of talk about this. So hopefully some new laws can be in place that we can keep building.
Yeah, I think we've seen in the first 2 days that was sort of held in Sydney that, you know, we've had Senator Bragg and Senator Hume sort of really talking positive about sort of the crypto, blockchain, Web3 ecosystem. So I think, you know, Australia's in a really good position where I don't think the sentiment is to hinder builders like yourself, but this is obviously very new for us all. So, you know, I think everyone's sort of navigating it. I'm looking at a clock down here at 9 minutes. I'm going to call an audible too. I think everyone can just wait for 5 minutes. Let's go right through to 1 o'clock for the AV guys. So just add another 5 minutes there because we want to get to everyone. Maddie, can you talk to us a little bit about the metaverse? Again, you know, the people in the room, the people on the stream are at varying levels of their sort of journey into sort of all things Web3 and hearing these terms like DAOs and NFTs and metaverse, etc. You've obviously got a lot of land in Decentraland, and, you know, Metakey's got land. Can you sort of paint a picture for someone that can't really envisage what the metaverse is?
Yeah, look, I think it's still something that's forming in our minds as to what it looks like. On an experience level, I think it's a place where you can go, whether it be Twitter or a virtual space like Decentraland or the Sandbox, and you can connect with people across the globe. Your assets that you have in the real world or in one app or one virtual world, they should be translatable in another virtual world, and this is why blockchain is so important, because it's kind of like everyone's building an app that you can connect into. So, you know, if we issue a wearable NFT, which just looks cool, you'd want to be able to use that in the Sandbox. You'd want to be able to use the same thing in Decentraland or wherever else this space goes. So I see the metaverse as the coming together of all of these technologies and the value of where you're going to be and what you're going to do that's going to be added upon. So, you know, it's not like we haven't seen this visually. We've seen visual experiences. People play games. People play VR chat. I think the difference is that there's more connectivity across apps, and there's more value that transition in the real world to the virtual world. And things that you do in the virtual world has real value that can be tracked and traded. So, yeah, that's how I sort of see it coming together.
Yeah, and I remember going to a metaverse event that I think the Metakey had a bit to do with last year, maybe in October. It was called the Metaverse Festival, and you had DJs like Deadmau5 playing, and essentially you're in there in Decentraland as your avatar. You can speak to other people, but you're actually watching a world-famous DJ play a set as he or she, you know, on a TV screen. And so, you know, we even heard Ridley talking about utilising archive footage from Tennis Australia earlier and playing that in Decentraland. So there is that crossover. Giant Swan, back to you. I believe you've been overseas quite a lot in the last sort of 3 to 6 months, and that included doing a feature or a stint in Coinbase's upcoming ads. Is that right?
Yeah, Rolling Stone picked me out to do some art for their inaugural NFT drop. Coinbase were involved in that and got to hang out with those guys and do some cool recording and stuff. It was nice to get off Zoom for once, you know, like it's been 2 years with no pants on. So, you know, got my best PJs on and got out there.
So we're 3 years down the track, we're in 2025. where are we in terms of what you're doing, Giant Swan?
Oh man, it could be anywhere. You know, like the NFT space has turned so many artists into market researchers, into marketers, into sometimes they make art. You know, I've had to have a crash course in my accounting, you know, like I'm not financially trained, and then all of a sudden, you know, you've got thousands of dollars being thrown at you. So in 5 years from now, you know, I could be anywhere. Achieving more as a fine artist is something that there's a fire underneath me to prove, and to grow the technology that backs me as well. So yeah.
Next question, I'll open this up to Danielle and Steve and even Maddie to chime in. But you know, one of the pain points or a lot of the friction that you guys have and we have as a space in general is it is a little bit hard to onboard new people, right? Whether it's someone trying to get your new NFT, Danielle, that really hasn't figured out, you know, MetaMask or all these digital wallets, and trying to get people involved in your team, NFTeams project, Steve. How do you guys think about onboarding and sort of providing that support to your collector base for you, Danielle, and for people, Steve? I'm sure, you know, people hear sports and go, how do I get one? Like, how do you guys think about that, and how much does it take of your bandwidth on sort of a weekly basis?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it's a super important point to touch on. Myself and my team, colleagues, we have made a conscious effort to try and educate, especially artists, along the way. It is such a daunting process. I can really resonate with Giant Swan on this, that tech was a foreign world to me. Accounting, figures, numbers, everything was foreign to me. So not only are we creating, but we're also having to grasp, you know, so many layers of technology and so many words and so many wallets and everything just flying at you. So myself and my team have made a conscious effort to document the process, and this will then now, I guess, turn into utility, whether it's next year, this year, but we do want to open up access for an online platform that essentially teaches creators to be able to create, and our audience to be able to set up the simple things like a MetaMask wallet and figure out what platform they're going to enter the space in. So yeah, it's taken up, I mean, we dedicate maybe 2 days a week to filming content to be able to do this and provide this to our audience. So it's a lot, and it's a lot to be able to create, and also to be able to essentially teach the audience, but I know what it's like to feel very overwhelmed and to not know where to start. So if we can help a few creators, you know, skip a few of those pain points, then that, you know, I feel like my job's done.
Yeah, there are so many roadblocks. If you see an NFT and you want to buy it, there's so many steps, and onboarding people is very difficult. So we'll go through it really quickly. You've got to first KYC at an exchange, figure out how to convert Australian dollars into a cryptocurrency. Then you got to figure out how to set up a MetaMask, and then you're given a seed phrase that you're meant to keep somewhere safe. So that's another roadblock. Then figuring out money across. All right, now you've got your money in your MetaMask, and you want to buy that NFT. You click on Mint. You see a $70 US fee in gas, and then you don't know if this Mint's already sold out. So you might have tried to buy, and you get a gas fee without an NFT. And then when you're holding the NFT, you've got hardware wallets to think about. It's just a very difficult process at the moment. And it's probably the biggest stumbling block for the NFT community. We were very lucky to have Nifty Gateway, NBA Top Shot start and onboard so many users with a simple credit card and also custody. But the Web3 ethos is your keys, your wallet, you're responsible. So it's going to be a long process. I onboarded a lot of my old audience from the sports betting space. So like I said before, I started some YouTube videos every step of the way showing them how to do that. So I think bringing in new people, and it's just going to be a slow process over the next few years, and we'll eventually get there, and there'll be tools that make it easier, but it's very difficult at the moment.
So I have a question for you again, Steve, that 99% of the audience wants to ask. Do you want to share your seed phrase, given you have a gold ape?
Well, could I share it? I've got a hardware wallet, and it's a Gnosis one. So even if I did share that seed phrase, I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it. But I'm not going to share it.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. Just tell us, 30 seconds, did you actually mint the gold ape or did you buy it early on secondary before, the wave that hit was Bored Apes?
No, I've been very lucky. So my first ever NFT was a Beeple. My first ever 10K drop were the Bored Apes. Minted 10 of them. That was number 2 that came out. Stupidly sold a few of the Bored Apes when it was 2-3 ETH. But yeah, I minted him and he will never be sold.
Well, I'm very happy to be on the stage with you and Maddie because I've been called a whale a couple of times in the first 2 days of blockchain week with my own NFT portfolio, and I know what you guys have got, and I'm definitely not a whale at your category. We are going to take some questions the last couple of minutes, so I just want to throw one last question to Maddie. Maddie, what sort of gets you most excited for sort of the rest of 2022? You've obviously been in the space for a while, you've got your finger in lots of different pies in the NFT space, but what gets you really excited?
I think just watching the evolution of the space and being part of it. I also have a fund that I invest on the back of. A lot of these new startups that come by, we have a fund called B3V that we see what's happening. They pitch to us what's in the works, and we're like, whoa, this is crazy what's going down. People building AAA games to people building marketplace solutions to help, bring down these hurdles that Steve and Danielle have mentioned. We know for a fact that the space is going to get more fun to be part of later this year because we've heard so many things being in the works. And what I've noticed is back when I started, I remember at the lowest of the lows, there was like literally 200 people here. Every Discord had like 200, 250 people. If it had 1,000, it was like, whoa, this is a big project. So we've seen it go from that level to where it is today, and the process has been slow, but there's been catalysts like NBA Top Shot, like Nifty Gateway, that built something where it was just really easy to understand, and it clicked. And I think there'll be more of those catalysts, and I think the gaming industry is going to be a big one because people are naturally gamers. I think the creative industry, people are naturally creators, so people like going to the sandbox and building something, and they're having an economy there that you can tie into. These things and the ability to engage in them will be made quite quicker. So I am excited for more visual experiences where when you're buying an NFT, it's not just a JPEG, it's something that can be done. Like if you're buying an NFT with utility like an avatar, it's not just a JPEG. You can use it in some games and some apps that are usable at that time. It's not just a roadmap. Art is its own thing, and that's beautiful. I like to see art. It does have value as a JPEG. The cool thing is that artists can take that same NFT, and I remember Justin Blau, he created a club in Decentraland where if you own his art, then you could open the club in DCL that plays his unreleased music. So, ways of how artists will engage and do more things in the space. I'm excited to see how that is. But yeah, mostly just happy to be part of it and watch the space evolve.
Amazing. If you're not following Maddie on Twitter already, you should be. Really good thought leader in the space. We are running out of time, but I'm going to take 1 or 2 questions. We will then be heading to lunch, so just keep your seats for now. Let's take 2 questions, given that we've got 4 wonderful guests on the stage. Right up the back, you're going to have to shout it out for me.
Okay, not financial advice. I'm keeping it. I think the valuation's ridiculous at a $13 billion market cap, but we've seen time and time again that Yuga Labs just deliver. I'm waiting for their metaverse. I'm sure a few have seen the leaked document, and we're actually hoping to build NFTeams into their metaverse, so I'm holding for now.
I love being on the stage right now. I've been hearing regulation and DeFi and all this kind of stuff. We are right in the weeds of the NFT stuff right now. I just feel like all the NFT degens are loving this. So we've got another question right down here. Tim Lee.
Big question, big friction to get into Web3 right now. Are we going to see corporates take over and make it dead easy and actually chuck in a load of money, or decentralized and versus still stay the same? What's going to happen?
I might repeat that question, Tim. It was essentially, are we going to see big corporates come in, like Meta maybe, to build out walled gardens, or are we going to stay in a really decentralized fashion moving forwards? Who would like to take that juicy question?
Yeah, I think when the space was much smaller, then we were all like, all right, when the corporates get here, when big brands get here, they'll probably take over, or they'll have a lot of weight when they come here. What we've noticed is that they sort of can't activate themselves unless they connect to the NFT culture. And when you talk about something at the scale of Meta, I mean, they're massive. They're sort of resource power is unheard of, right? It is sort of a question mark as to what sort of mark they will make. But I still think the decentralized powerhouse on how important it is to, it's quite clear now, like why you shouldn't share data easily. Like, you know, people used to just tick terms and conditions when it comes to Facebook. Nowadays, I don't even have like a Facebook profile. I think many times before doing that. So I think the models have to sort of be decentralized. They have to open up to a certain level. What that level is, on one scale, you've got something like Ethereum, which is sort of really open source and really open. Then you've got Meta, which is trying to figure it out. But I think the solution lies somewhere in the middle, where Artifact Studio can come and keep doing their thing, but have sort of Nike influence. They can benefit from the network that Nike brings. Nike can benefit from the culture that they don't really understand right now, but can plug into that and bring value to that as they fit. If Nike put too much weight behind Artifact Studio, I think they would probably lose some of their customer base, because Artifact is pretty cool as it is. So I think there's a middle sort of solution to that.
I think that's a wonderful answer. I'm going to take one more question. I know the Hospo staff and probably AV guys are hating me right now, but oh well. One more question. Yep, down in front.
Question for Maddie. How do you hope to integrate Metakey into IRL events across Australia and the world?
I'll just repeat that question for everyone on the live stream. The question was, I've gone blank. You probably heard it.
Yeah, I heard it. So how do we integrate the Metakey into IRL events? It's kind of like, how do we integrate NFTs into IRL events? And I think it's just on an experimental basis. Today, like I said, you can scan your Metakey with Michael and he'll give you physical merchandise. Maybe later on we'll have, we'll just pay for food and you get a 10% discount on, or a $10 voucher at some place that's serving food at an event. But I don't know. We're just experimenting. In whatever way it's possible to do so, we'll do something and figure out what can happen.
And I think that's a good way to end experimentation. And our wonderful guests on stage today are all experimenting in their own sort of niches of NFTs. And it's been an honour to sort of speak to these guys today. And I hope everyone on the stream and in the audience has enjoyed this session. We are breaking for lunch now for those that are in the room here at Marvel Stadium. For those on the stream, I actually can't remember when we're back on. I think it's 1:35 p.m. So go and get your own lunch or wherever you are, dinner in the world. So thanks again to Giant Swan, to Danielle, to Maddie, and to Steve. Give them a big round of applause. And one last thing. We do have the POAP. It is done by Danielle. It's Danielle's artwork. So if you come see myself, Rochelle, or Danielle is actually going to have the QR code on her phone as well. So come and get your POAP, and please go and get some lunch, and thank you.